Once cattle are received, the next logical step is processing. Now, depending on their age and their history, quite a bit may need to be done in the chute, and that involves a lot of handling. Using the correct methods here can keep stress down and help performance.
Processing begins when you enter the pen, the home pen of those cattle, or the receiving pen, to draw them out. You want to approach them in a slow fashion, make sure that you let them know you're there. And as you go to the alleyways, you want to use those same techniques to draw those cattle to you, keeping them as quiet, as calm as possible. That way, as they enter that tub or box or snake, they'll stay quiet and calm.
The main thing as we go to pull this pen we want to consider is flight zone and balance point. So as we approach the cattle, we'll slow it down, get them ready to work. When they're ready to go, we'll step in, use that balance point to bring them by, and keep the pressure on until we reach the alley. So as we approach here, we're watching the reaction of the cattle. We know they're going to want to be at these other cattle. So as we step in here, when they get ready to work, we'll slow down here, slow down, slow down. Now, as they get ready to come by us, we step in, pressure the eye, find the balance point, and as soon as they step by us, we step back, take the pressure off, let the cattle work. Now we move in. I'll keep the back flowing. Ron will keep the direction pointed in the front. I'll step across. Ron will work that side of the pen. I work this side. Now we got to change our mind again. Step back, step forward. Now we create the pressure, keep the cattle flowing through the system. A real important point to think about is not getting into habits. When we walk into this pen of cattle, they should tell us which side to go on to bring the cattle by us the best, by the way they're shaped up in the pen. So as we approach the cattle, we walk in and I decide, right now I'm thinking maybe I better go to my right here because the cattle will flow out this way best. And as I step in here, I'm going to pass these cattle on to Ron. So we're working together here. As soon as they get to his balance point, I step back and Ron takes over, and I just keep cattle flowing to him. So I'm just going to keep sending cattle, and he keeps them going straight. So we're working together here, and we have to kind of keep our mind on each other as well as the cattle. Once the cattle start flowing, I can start sending him a little quicker to him to keep that pressure from behind coming forward. I don't move forward here. If I step forward here, I'll stop my movement going to Ron. His idea is just to keep these cattle going. And if we make a wrong step or something, we just correct each other. We just fill in for the other person. We're watching the other cattle as well as the other person. Now we got a straight line, and we gotta move in a way that tells these cattle in the back that they need to go that direction, and we'll send these cattle. Now this will be a way these cattle will learn to flow away from us, and once they get ready to go, once they get ready, which they're getting set up now, once they get set, now we can move in and put a little more pressure, which will create that flow that goes right through them. Once they get ready to go, we want to keep the pressure on so that they don't change their mind. We got to keep the pressure on, but we can't put too much pressure. It'll send the cattle on the backside over us. Now my side is flowing through pretty good. I'll keep them moving by stepping back and forth, and they should find a way to flow through that open gate down there.
Most feed yards now either use a tub, snake, and chute system or a bud box and chute. These systems leverage the natural herding and movement behavior of cattle for safe, efficient, and easy movement through the processing facility.
The thing I like about the tub and the way it works is we can use the tub and the shape and the design to flow cattle. The more skilled you get, you use those skills as well as the design of the tub to help move cattle through the system very effectively, safely, and in a way that they are ready to receive their medicines. They're flowing right through us as we speak. So when I'm bringing cattle into my tub, if my tub will hold 10 head, I want to only put about half that many in, 5 to 6. The other thing I want to make sure of, before I send my cattle into the tub, getting ready to go to the snake, I want to make sure the snake is empty and has somewhere for those cattle to go. We got to time this out real carefully so we don't have people waiting for us at the chute but we also don't have cattle stored in the tub as well. So once we get ready to go here, I'll send from the back. The man from the front, he can keep them flowing through there. And if they have somewhere to go and enough room, the cattle should flow through just fine. As soon as they come back, I'll position them again from the back. I'll get them ready to go. They have somewhere to go, so as soon as they find it, they're ready to flow through our tub. The next thing we need to think about is before we bring cattle to our snake, that the cattle actually have somewhere to go. So patience is the virtue here, not loading cattle when there's nowhere for the cattle to go. We don't want to store our cattle in our tub. When the cattle get in the tub, we want to make sure they have somewhere to flow and go. When we get the animals in here, we got to get everybody set going the same direction. Once they decide to go, they go. So rather than forcing the animal in here, what we need to try to do is get the animals set up to go. Once they all get set up and decide not to be here, then you can push them. But until that time, there's no use pushing them. All you're trying to do is set that up, put enough pressure on the animals where they're looking for a way out.
So I bring this gate back, I'm thinking about the next draft of cattle, and as I bring it back, I want to get those cattle where they're comfortable coming by me, to where they come in Kurt's position where he is, they will be comfortable coming by him, and he can step forward and put that pressure on them. So this works together. I'll go with that flow, and I'm going to try to keep their eye on this side, where they'll come around that corner and keep their flow going. If my timing's right, all of these cattle would fit in there. I was a little early with this one, but we still have the draw on that set of cattle, taking them into the snake, but it's all the setup from the way we get them out of the pens in the back, bring them into this alleyway and keep drawing on that eye and bringing those cattle around. You don't even have to hurry, because I need a place for those cattle to go. Most everybody gets in a little too big a hurry right here, trying to bring too many cattle too quick. So I'm gonna wait till I can start seeing them move up a little bit, be ready to bring 4 or 5 more head. You have to be willing to be patient. You also have to be willing to hurry when it's necessary to catch up. So if you get a little bit behind, don't be afraid to put some pressure on them. Make sure they've got a place to go. I need to slow down just a little bit coming around that corner because they're slipping more than I like. But I still have to keep that pressure on them to come around.
The biggest challenge is to not injure the animals. That's the number one. To keep ourselves safe, the animals safe, and then get them where they flow through, where they're not scared going into the chute. The chute's even going to create more pressure than I'm creating here. It's very important to work as a team. As Ron brings the cattle and the gate around in behind, what I can do is I can stay at the front, and as he sets his gate and he gets ready and he stops it right about there, then when the cattle come, they'll have enough room to turn around. As soon as they get ready to turn around, with me being in the front, all I have to do is step by, and then the cattle are ready to flow. The tendency is to want to go around back and push from that side, but if Ron and I work together, I'm the draw, and I get the cattle go by me like they are trained to do. All Ron is doing is creating a barrier back there so they don't leave me.
Cattle have a natural behavior to go back to where they came from. A well-designed curved chute takes advantage of that tendency, because as they come on around the bend, they think they're going back to where they came from. Also, a well-designed round crowd pen takes advantage of that same tendency, because as the cattle come on around the crowd pen, they think they're going back to where they came from. Now, a lot of round crowd pens are laid out wrong. They're too straight through. If you just go straight through the tub, you might as well not have one. You also need to make sure your chute is not dead-ended. As an animal comes around to the entrance of the lead-up snake, he needs to be able to see up their 2 body lengths. If you bend it too sharply, it's not going to work. Proper layout is really, really important, because if they're laid out wrong, they're not going to work.
What we're trying to do here is I'm trying to get this animal ready to go by me. This is the balance point. Balance point, find the balance point, then go with him. Try to draw this other animal forward to me. I turn my shoulders away, I draw this animal to me. Now I'm ready for the balance point again. Step back, send him, step here, he's ready to go.
Once cattle enter the chute, continue to work quietly and calmly around them. Keep talking to a minimum, and shouting should be avoided at all times. Prevent loud noises when possible. Don't move too quickly or aggressively. The calmer you are, the calmer the animal will be when restrained. Once the animal is in the release area, make sure it gets with other cattle as soon as possible. Don't leave it by itself. A single animal often becomes bothered and is prone to injure itself or one of your crew members. Again, avoid the use of loud noises, cattle prods, quick movements, or aggressive talking. And remember, processing starts when you enter the receiving area or home pen. Whether on foot or horseback, make sure the cattle can see you. Finally, and this may seem odd, but for best results, you really need to let the cattle tell you how they want to move. A good hand reads his cattle and responds accordingly.